Okay, the last part of this training will be the more advanced portion. I'll be showing you how to hand key punch or program a frequency into the radio. Okay, this portion, please, only for advanced users. You should never program or reprogram any of the already pre-programmed zones or groups that have been programmed for you. So if you're going to do programming, please select, as we're going to do in this training, an empty zone. In this example, we'll be using zone or grouping number 32 because I know that that is empty. And first, let's start off with the game plan of what we're going to program. Anytime you do any programming, you make yourself a written game plan like this, like I'm showing you here. Okay, first we're going to decide where we're going to put this frequency. We're going to be programming the Beaver repeater on the north end of the forest. We're going to program it into channel number 4, and we're going to put it into zone number 32 because I know that that's an empty zone or grouping on this radio. Alright, so it's going to be the Beaver repeater. This is the way we're going to label it. We're going to label the channel as Beaver. It has a receive frequency of 1704625, a receive code guard, otherwise known as a tone, of 131.8, transmit frequency of 164.150, and a transmit code guard of 127.3. Okay, when we're programming, we'll have to decide whether it's an analog or digital frequency. This is analog. We have no digital frequencies on the Wallowa-Whitman, Umatilla, or Malheur National Forest, so everything always programs as analog. And we're also going to have to make a selection for narrowband, which is on the 12.5 kilohertz band, or wideband. And I believe now all our frequencies, regardless of cooperators, are on narrowband. So when we get to that step, we will be selecting narrowband 12.5 kilohertz. Alright, so let's start programming here. Alright, first you said we want to program into zone 32. So let's get our radio into zone 32. Currently you'll see it's in zone 1. So to change zone, we're going to pick the zone here with this key. And let's go up to zone 32. There we are in zone 32, and select it with enter. Okay, now shows we're in zone 32. The channel knob is currently on channel 8, which doesn't matter where the channel knob is, we'll get to select where we want to program our channel once we start programming. Alright, let's get the radio into programming mode. Let's select menu with this diamond key. And let's scroll down till we find the programming option. Okay, so it is not cloning. Cloning is when you're duplicating all the channels, frequencies from one radio to another via cable, so it is not cloning. What we want is keypad program. So we're going to select keypad program by selecting enter with the square key here. Once again, we're going to reconfirm by hitting enter that we want keypad programming. Okay, it wants a password. Currently the passwords are set to 6 zeros. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then select enter. Alright, it's asking us what we want to program. Do we want to program channels, zone parameters, or global parameters? Okay, don't mess with the zone parameters and global parameters. We're simply going to be programming channels, so we're going to select channels by hitting enter. Alright, it wants us to select the zone. We started off in zone 32, so we're still there. We could change the zone now, but we had said we wanted to program into zone 32, so we're already there. So we're going to accept that by hitting enter. Alright, now we need to change to the channel we want to program into using this up and down arrow here. And we said we want to program into channel number 4. So let's get it on channel number 4 by using this up arrow. Let's go the other way, down. Alright, we're ready to program channel number 4. Let's go ahead and enter. Okay, so we're going to be using the down arrow to go through multiple programming steps, but we're going to start clear at the top. We're going to go through step by step. So the very first step when we get in here is to program the channel label. Okay, the channel label that we selected was the word beaver. So let's put that in here. Channel label, select it with enter. Alright, so right now there is no channel label, it's blank, but we still have to select clear to empty out the register. So under the word clear, select the key that lines up with it. We're going to clear it out, and we're going to put in beaver. And the way labels go in is just like texting. B is located here with a 2. I'm going to hit that key till the B shows up. If I wait a second or two, my cursor is going to move to the right. Here's our E with the number 3. I'm going to hit that till I come up with the E, A. And I'm going to make a mistake here just to show you how to correct it. Notice it says back here, so I can go backwards and correct my error. Oops. Let me clear all that out. Start over again. Alright, so there we have beaver as a label. Once we're done, let's go ahead and hit enter. Okay, so first step we've completed, that's the channel label. Now we're going to scroll down to programming the receive frequency and select enter. Okay, first we're going to clear the frequency that's in there. It's all cleared to zeros. And our receive frequency for the beaver repeater is 170.4625. So let's punch in 170.4625. Okay. The decimal point, we don't put it in. It just is already there for us, so we just put the numbers the way we see them. Okay, let's verify our frequency, 170.4625, 170.4625, and select enter. Setting saved. Okay, so we've completed our receive frequency. Let's move on to our receive mode. Enter. Okay, analog or digital. We had already said that this is going to be an analog channel. So analog is already selected. Let's just confirm that by hitting enter. Let's down arrow for our next option. Okay, our receive guard. Let's program that. Let's clear up what's currently in there. We have a receive code guard of 131.8. We'll just enter that directly, no decimal, 131.8. Confirming 131.8, 131.8. Let's accept that, enter. Alright, let's go down to the next option. Receive NAC code, that is not valid, that's just for digital channels. We'll skip that. Squelch mode, that's not valid, that's for digital channels. Let's go down to transmit frequency and clear the current entry. Transmit frequency of 164.150. Okay, verifying 164.150, 164.150. Let's go ahead and select enter. Let's go down arrow to our next option, transmit mode, enter. Once again, it's analog, enter. Down arrow to our next option, bandwidth, select enter. Okay, 12.5 kilohertz or 25 kilohertz. We discussed that earlier. We are a narrowband, 12.5 kilohertz. And that's what's already selected, 12.5 kilohertz, so let's accept that. Down arrow once again. And finally our transmit guard, or code guard, clearing what's currently in there, is 127.3, 127.3, verifying, correct. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Alright, that's it. We're done programming. There's some other options here. Transmit NAC code, that's for digital. Transmit ID, that's also for digital. Secure mode, that key lock. These options are for encrypted transmissions. We don't need to mess with that. So unless we need to make a correction, which we could go back up to our previous options that we did and make changes there. Otherwise, if we're done, we're just going to escape out of here and hit escape again and again till we're back out to normal operating mode, where our radio should say menu and zone. And we're still in zone 32. Let's go to channel 4 and see if it took our programming. There it is. Zone 32, channel 4, the Beaver repeater. And that's how to hand punch a radio. Okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about is cloning radios. Radio cloning is basically copying all the information from a zone in a source radio via a cable to a connected target radio. We can copy one zone to another zone, or we can copy the entire radio from the source radio to the target radio. Okay, this can be found, the instructions in this user manual for the BK radio, and in this particular case it's found on page 71 under radio cloning. Okay, basically we have three different types of cloning that can be done with this radio. Those are active zone, zone to zone, and entire radio cloning. Very briefly, active zone is where we ahead of time set each radio to the zone that we want to clone to and clone from. So ahead of time, if we want to clone from the source radio zone 1, we set the radio up to be in zone 1. If we want the destination radio to be also in zone 1, we set that up ahead of time. Then we would connect the cables and do active zone cloning. Zone to zone allows us to select where the zones that we're sending to the target radio go. So we can select, for example, zone 1 in the source radio and select it to go into zone 6 in the target radio. And this is regardless of what the initial zone was set at on the target radio when we started this, as opposed to these where we set each radio to be in the zone that we want to get cloned when we select active zone cloning. Entire radio cloning, that copies all the zones from the source radio to the target radio. I caution you not to use this before talking to your radio technician. In many cases, if the target radio has zones that have been locked to prevent programming, this will not be successful. Alright, let's show you how to set up the radio for these three different methods. Let's go and turn this radio on. Alright, we're going to go to menu, go down till we find cloning and press enter. Alright, here you see our three different methods: active zone, zone to zone, and entire radio. And the simplest form, and kind of what we're used to with the old King radios, is if I want zone 1 to go in from this radio to zone 1 in the target radio, I start off by setting up this radio in zone 1 and the target radio in zone 1. I connect the cable, the cloning cable between the two, and then when I'm ready, I just push enter. And in this case, I'm going to see an error message. I'm going to push enter. And it says clone failed, no device found. But if you do have a successful clone, what it's going to look like on the screen, after you push the enter, it's going to say the cloning mode, and then it's going to say successfully cloned after the target radio receives its clone. One last thing is, once you complete a clone and disconnect the cable, you want to shut off the target radio, power it down, and then power it back up.